It's very difficult when you're in a place that you don't want to be in, and essentially you really feel like you need to leave that place. And I'm really talking about, those individuals who want to quit their job or start something new or believe that they could do something bigger, badder, and bolder. And, the reality is, what stands in your way is the application process towards a new role, new prospects, new opportunities that you want to embark on. And so in today's video, I want to focus on, different tips and tools that you can use in order for you to enhance your CV. Okay, so the reason why I feel like I can talk about this stuff is because, number one, I've gone through the motions myself and I've had to go through things in order to make sure that my CV is on point. Number two, I've used professional services before in the past, and there are certain things that have definitely worked and other things that have not worked at all. The third thing is that in my resourcing and workforce contracting position, within, the public sector environment, I've been able to look through so many different types of CVs and supporting statements, and I know what I'm looking for as a hiring manager when it comes to recruiting someone new. And yeah, I just thought this would be a good opportunity in order to do this. So the first thing I'd say is that you need to be really apt at understanding what your role is. Okay, so what do I mean by this? I mean, there's one thing doing your role, but there's another thing actually being able to articulate what it is that you actually do. And so what may help you is talking to a trusted colleague, your line manager, or someone who's within your sphere to better understand exactly what it is that you do. Because when it comes to writing the different points in terms of your experience, you're going to have to be able to highlight your responsibilities as well as your achievements as well. So speak to someone and brainstorm this information out. The second thing I'd say is that you have to be able to produce what I call a coherent CV. So there are so many different things going around where they're saying, you can create this glossy CV, or you can create this really nice CV using a Canva template or whatever it may be. When really and truly what they're looking for is something that is readable. A lot of these recruiting places or hiring managers may use software in order to decipher your CV, or it's going to be humans looking at this stuff. They want something that is easy to read and clearly highlights your experience. So avoid any over glossy, overdone CVs, because 9 times out of 10, they don't even really work on the algorithm, especially if you're putting them on places like CV Monster, Indeed, or Reed. The third thing I want to say is that when you're writing your CV, make sure you've got the margins as wide as possible. Okay, so rule of thumb, usually 2 pages is what people are looking for. If you're really desperate, then 3, depending on your niche expertise, but 2 pages is what most hiring managers are looking for. Now, it's an unspoken rule, and if you need to put it on more, that's fine, but it's about being as concise as possible when it comes to updating your CV. The next thing I want to say is that you want to start with having your name and your details underneath at the top of your page. Really important stuff for you to do so they can clearly see who you are. Okay, so for me, I have my name in bold and I have my details being my telephone number and also my email address as well. Then the next point is you want to have some sort of profile. So in this profile, you want to highlight what type of person you are, what type of roles you're looking for, and a little bit about your expertise and experience. So you may start off with, I am an accomplished program management consultant who has an expertise in MSP, change management delivery, and whatever it may be. This has been evidenced by working for organizations such as X, Y, and Z. I am looking for a role that is able to complement my skills in X, Y, and Z. Again, I'm doing this off the cuff, but this is giving you an idea of what your initial profile should say in terms of your summary at the top. So this goes right at the top. It shouldn't be more than about 5 or 6 lines or so, but it should be really clear and coherent. The next thing I'd say is that underneath that, you should have your key skills. Now, in this section, you're highlighting 4, 5, 6 key skills that you think complement you in terms of the niche that you're looking for. So if it's program management, then you want to highlight things like project management skills, leadership skills, problem solving, facilitation, etc., etc. And really draw to examples of where you've used these skills. Highlight what it is that you're actually doing. So if it's leadership skills, then highlight that you are adept in leadership and you employ great listening, great presentation skills, great whatever it may be. Okay, so it's nice to have these different key skills underneath that section. The next section after that, you want to really pinpoint precisely what skills you are actually utilizing when you're applying for these different roles. So again, this is less about explanation and more about being very niche and very specific. So what are those core skills that highlights you as that person who can deliver the role? Next, you want to talk about your experiences, and this is you really talking about your most relevant experiences. So here you don't want to talk about how, let's say for example, you're applying for an accounting role. McDonald's is not going to cut it if that's what you did before. That may be in your other experience or additional experience section, which is underneath. You're not really highlighting responsibilities. You're just saying the date, the organization, and the department. Here, what we're doing is we're highlighting experience that includes responsibilities and achievements. Okay, so you could say, as an example, I was responsible for managing, tracking, and recruiting over 50 individuals into the organization over a period of 60 days. That could be something that you could talk about. So really it's using, doing words that highlight specific activities that you've been doing. So this is what you need to talk about when it comes to responsibilities. This is why the initial part of talking to someone is going to be key. In terms of achievements, you could include things like, I was able to decrease the failure rate within the laboratory environment by over 50% within a 30-day period, as an example. What I'm doing there is showing that I was responsible for impacting a change, and I've highlighted how much that change was in relation to my role over a period of time. So that gives you specifics. If there are any awards that you've had, you could say that as well. Okay, so these are all things you can include in your CV so they know that you are of a certain caliber. Now, in terms of bullet points, you may have at least 6 different points per experience for that relevant experience area. Now, after your experience, okay, when talking about your relevant ones and your additional ones, you want to include your qualifications and any form of additional learning as well. So here you want to include things like vocational things like MSP, Prince 2, Agile, change management, coaching, whatever it may be. But you also want to include your highest form of education. Usually this will be any sort of master's, PhD, or bachelor's degree. This may also include your GCSEs as well. And you don't have to highlight everything. You can say, A star to C. I think it's 1 to 9 now. You can tell I'm getting older. Okay, so this is an idea of how you can do this. You can do this quite succinctly as well. And so effectively that's it. I think the last part to say around that is, that there is usually a section for referees. Now the question is, do you add the details of the referee there or not? And the answer to that is, you can pretty much say, referees available upon request. So if they need that information, they can contact you, and that saves a bit of space on your CV as well. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. If you want more information on this, I actually have a course called Secure the Job, which talks about this in a bit more detail and provides templates and information to help you secure your next job. So if this is something that you're looking to do, then definitely click on the link below to find out more information, and you could definitely gain more insights in terms of how you can secure your next job. Now, I'd love to know, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to finding your next role? Is it the fact that you don't know what to find? You don't know what your career progression looks like? Is it that you don't know what to say? Do you have trouble with interviews? Let me know in the comments below, because again, this really helps me help you provide the information that you need. Anyway, if you like videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.